Hey guys, gonna be doing an oil change today on the 2020 Ford Expedition with a 3.5 liter Ecoboost. First thing, getting started here when it's due for an oil change, want to make sure I have everything I need here. So underneath, I got a drip pan, catch any oil that's going to be running out. Here, just going through my tools real quick. Going to take about 6 quarts of oil. I've got the STP filter. For STP, it's 10590 XL. Sometimes I use a Fram filter. It's just whatever's, they have a deal. Right now they had a deal on the 5 quarts of full synthetic and the STP filter at AutoZone, so that's what I'm going with this time. I always use the full synthetic oil on these engines because they do have the turbos, so it puts a lot of demand on the oil, and they call for the full synthetic. Also got washer fluid. It's a good time to check that too when you're doing your oil change to top that off, and then a filter wrench, and then a 15 mil box wrench here. So go ahead, gonna get started. First thing, got it turned off. Just looking underneath the hood here. I'm gonna open the filler cap. There we go. So filler cap's open. Gonna go underneath. This sits up high enough in the driveway. I don't really need to jack it up, so I can leave it on the ground. If you can fit underneath here, it's good. If you can't, you might need to use a jack and some jack stands. Drain plug here, 15 mil wrench. Gonna loosen that up. I'm gonna slide the drain pan over. Comes out of there pretty good. So, got it loose with the wrench. Gonna be able to slide out the rest just with my fingers here. Don't want to lose it, but all right, we got that running down drain pan there. Gonna let that run for a little bit. Set our drain plug here and a wrench. Need that while the oil is draining out. Then I go up top, check our fluids, check our air filter. Actually, grab my funnel here. Make sure that's draining okay, not overflowing, anything like that. And I'll put that there. That's where our filler hole goes. When we're waiting, we got our wiper fluid. In winter time especially, you can go through quite a bit of this. Over here to the left. Looks like we're pretty good actually. I filled it up not too long ago. But while we're here, we might as well go ahead and top her off. Let's go ahead and check our air filter. Air filter's on the other side. You just got these 2 spring clips here. Pop them off and that slides. The air filter actually looks pretty good too. So it's not in bad shape. You can see light through it. Looks pretty new. It's not too old. But it's always good to check those when you got everything open here. Plus you gotta wait for the oil to drain, so you might as well check stuff while you're at it. So with that, everything looks okay. Battery terminals don't look corroded. Everything looks pretty good. Everything underneath here looks pretty good right now. I'm gonna go ahead and check on our drain pan. Yep, I'll let it run out of there until it starts to kind of drip, and it isn't just that constant stream anymore. Just that drip, 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 drip. And I figure that'll be good. Finger tight the drain plug. Get her finger tight at first. I'm gonna wipe off any kind of oil that's underneath there, so they're not dripping on the driveway. I'm gonna push the drain plug, or the drain pan, up closer to the front where the oil filter is. At my 15 mil, make that tight. You definitely want to make sure your drain plug's tight, but you don't have to get crazy with it and round it off. But with a good box wrench, you just get it tight where it's definitely snug, and we'll call that good. Now we'll move it. I scoop my drain pan up, and now we'll go around to the front and deal with the oil filter. So the oil filter on these engines is up at the front. We're gonna put our 15 mil wrench away. We're done with that for now. Here's our filter wrench. Now this can be kind of messy. There's a little area where it's supposed to drain the oil, and it never actually goes where it shows to drain. Hope you can see that right at the front of the engine. That is our oil filter there. I'm gonna get the cardboard to catch any kind of misses. Go ahead and get this on. Simply slide our filter wrench on over top of the filter, and then it comes off counterclockwise. It looks like it's already moving. So you just use the wrench to loosen it up. Once you know that it's loose, I'm going to go ahead and slowly start threading it out of there. And the oil kind of, at times, can have a mind of its own. There we go. Not too bad. Looks like I had it right in the right spot. So remember that filter, when it comes off of there, it's full of oil. So I'm going to dump that out in our drain pan. Oh. There we go. So we got our old filter off of there. The thing to look for on your old filter, you want to make sure you have this seal, this rubber seal. If you don't get the old rubber seal off, it'll leak like crazy when you put on the new one. So there's our old filter. We got our new filter here. We'll take it out of the box. We got our new rubber seal. I'm going to take some of that old oil and apply it to this rubber seal here on the new filter. And you know, they say 10,000 miles. I do my oil changes every 5,000 miles with these, just because, you know, those Ecoboost engines are putting out a lot of heat with supercharged there. And I think an oil change, kind of like how you brush your teeth, you know, rather than worrying about having the absolute best toothpaste, the fanciest toothpaste that they make, I think it's more important that you're brushing your teeth often. So I look at oil changes the same way. Change your oil frequent. It's cheap compared to replacing an engine, so it's worth that additional little bit of insurance there, at least in my opinion. Right up here, and I put that oil filter there, and you don't need the wrench when you're tightening it. It's normal thread, so you thread it clockwise, and it should start and go. Kind of an awkward position. There we go. Spin it on there. You want to get it hand tight. Definitely want it tight, want it snug, just with your hand. It's another one you don't have to get crazy with any kind of wrenches or anything, just normal hand tight. So from there, you see that's kind of where the oil's supposed to drain. So let that sit for a minute. Try to wipe off any excess so it's not dripping on the driveway. And we got our filter tight. We got our drain plug tight. I'll let this drip a little bit more because you can only wipe off so much oil when it runs through that little groove that's supposed to take it down to the drain pan. So I'll let that drip. But everything's tightened up. Now we'll head up to the top and put our filter wrench away. Go with our light. Actually, we might keep that. Getting a little dark here. When we check our oil, make sure we got the right amount. Put the filter wrench away. I had a little bit of oil left over from the last oil change, so this will go on first. There's just a little over a quart in here. Like I was saying, it takes about 6 quarts on this, so it should be right about what we need. I always save these jugs. I like the bigger jugs because I save them to put the old oil in when I take that back. You can take your old oil back to whatever auto parts store you buy your oil from, AutoZone Advance, and they'll take it and recycle it for free there. I normally get the jugs. Today at AutoZone they were out of the big jugs, but it was the same price to get the 1 quarts. That's normally not the case. Normally finding a quart at a time is a lot more expensive, but for this deal promotion they had going on at AutoZone, it's the same price. So they're easier to handle with. It's just the cost thing. If they're the same price, then it doesn't really matter either way. So one thing I always check on, of course this takes a 5W30 full synthetic. Always look on the back at the API service rating. It says, I don't know if you guys can see that, API service SP. That's the newest service rating there. SAE 5W30 shows resource conserving API service SP. If you're dealing with auto parts store that's getting rid of some of their old stuff, you may see some SN on the shelves. Always check that to make sure you have the latest service rating. That way you know you have, the best stuff that you can get. Sometimes if you stop in gas stations or things like that, if you're in a pinch and need oil, I've even seen like SL and SM on the shelves, just really old stuff, because typically gas stations don't sell it a lot and it sits on the shelf for a long time. So just something to be aware of and something to check. Place like AutoZone goes through so much oil, you don't really run into that kind of stuff, especially not in a common weight like 5W30. If you're in maybe some little more exotic type oils that aren't as common, you may run into that stuff. So just make sure you're always checking whatever service ratings recommended. Make sure you got the latest stuff. That should be quart 4. It is starting to get dark here. This is winter months in Ohio. It gets dark early. If you saw a lot of cars, you can, have this magnet light and see what you're doing. Not so on these Ford Expeditions and Ford F-150s. This has also got one of those aluminum bodies. So it's nice in a place like Ohio where we use a lot of salt on the roads. Don't have to worry about rust, but if you're trying to stick a magnet to the side, you're gonna be out of luck. We've had pretty good luck with this Expedition. It gets 19 to 20 miles a gallon, depending on who's driving. Really smooth riding vehicle. if you got a lot of kids or have a lot of people you need to haul around, something like this is great. Actually, fuel mileage, I used to have a van, a Toyota Sienna van, also a 6-cylinder, a lot slower, not as powerful as this, not as smooth of a ride, and it actually got worse gas mileage. I think I was getting only about 16 miles to the gallon driving the minivan around. Not as aerodynamic, also some older technology, but for a vehicle this big, 19-20 miles a gallon is pretty good. All right, quart 6. All right, right around 6 quarts. Should be right around what we need. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap on there. Filler cap back on. I'm gonna start it up before we check the oil. When you start it up, before you check the oil, since we did change the filter out, the filter is empty. Turn it on and running it for a few seconds will get the oil pump pumping, and it'll fill up the oil filter full of filter, so you get a better accurate reading about how much oil is in the engine, how much you need. I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick before I hop in the vehicle. Let's hop in, fire it up. Let it run for a few seconds. Oil pressure is good. Hood is ajar. All true. Run for a few seconds. That's about all we need. All right. All right, pulling our dipstick out. Let's see where we're at. Look at that, right in the middle, right where we want to be. Looks good. Go ahead and put this back in. There we go. We got our drain cap on. We got everything tight, everything put back where it's supposed to be. And we're gonna go ahead, close our hood. Last thing we need to do, we need to reset the trip computer. It tells you if you're due for oil change or not. Like I was saying before, I'm pretty conservative on oil changes. I'd rather do an oil change early than run into issues. Just you know, using the same tooth analogy again, once you have a cavity, it's already too late to brush your teeth. Same way with engine trouble. If you got engine problems, it's already too late to start changing your oil. So from here we go Engine information, hit OK. Engine hours, oil life says 49% left, but we did our oil change now. We're back at 100%, so I'm going to hold OK for reset. And there we go. Engine oil life back to 100%. Oil change is done. That's all there is to it, guys. All right, hit that like and subscribe button.